start with the confrontation that had us all screaming at our screens. Chelsea Hamilton finally cornered her father, Bill, dropping the ultimate truth bomb about Hayley's infidelity and her shady connection to Sammy. But what does Bill do? He completely dismisses her. Let us be brutally honest here. Bill Hamilton is not a stupid man in the courtroom, but when it comes to his ego, he is completely blind. Admitting that Chelsea is right means admitting that his entire life choices, leaving Danny, blowing up his family for a younger, vibrant woman, were a complete and utter joke. Bill's pride is acting as a blindfold, and it is a blindfold that might just become his burial shroud. He vehemently defends Hayley, completely ignoring the glaring red flags waving right in his face. But the most chilling part of this dynamic is not Bill's denial. It is his physical deterioration. Bill is experiencing severe dizziness, double vision, and stumbling, yet he actively hides the severity of his condition. And Hayley, she completely ignores it. Actually, ignores is the wrong word. She is reveling in it. We all know she has been slowly poisoning him with her special green smoothies and electrolyte drinks. When Bill brings up Chelsea's accusations, Hayley executes a masterclass in emotional manipulation. She weaponizes the one-year anniversary of their lost baby to guilt trip him, pivoting the narrative to insist they desperately need a getaway to St. Bart's. The sheer audacity of this woman is terrifying. She is using a tragic loss to fast-track a murder plot. This brings us to the ultimate ethical dilemma currently resting on the shoulders of Caroline Lee. As Bill's assistant at the law firm, Caroline is the gatekeeper to his life. She sees the frantic, erratic behavior Hayley is exhibiting. She sees the sudden, desperate insistence on rescheduling the St. Bart's trip. Caroline is highly suspicious, and her intuition is screaming that something is terribly wrong. But does she have the guts to blow the whistle and tell Chelsea? Let us analyze Caroline's position. Bill has already aggressively warned her not to interfere in his marriage. If she speaks up, she risks facing Bill's wrath and potentially losing her career. But if she stays silent, she might be an unwitting accomplice to him. The psychological weight on Caroline is immense. Will she risk her livelihood to save a man who threatens to fire her for caring? Despite his rapidly declining health, Bill is successfully manipulated into taking the trip to St. Bart's. If no one connects the dots in time to stop them, Bill is walking straight into a meticulously crafted death trap. Hayley and Randy Parker have planned this down to the very last detail. The Caribbean setting is not just for romance. It is a strategic, calculated choice. Their plan is flawless on paper. Isolate Bill at a remote villa, administer a highly lethal injection, arrange for a rapid cremation orchestrated by Randy's underground contacts to completely bypass any autopsy, and return home with a death certificate citing sudden cardiac arrest. Without a body, there is no proof of foul play. Hayley would then be free to collect the massive $10 million life insurance policy, splitting it with Randy, and transferring the funds offshore. But here's where the genius of the writing truly shines, delivering the plot twist of the century. Picture this. They arrive at the isolated villa in St. Bart's. The ocean breeze is blowing, the setting is eerily quiet, and Bill is completely incapacitated, sweating and delirious from the poison already ravaging his system. Hayley stands over him, preparing the final, lethal injection that will end his life and secure her fortune. It is the point of no return. But in his feverish, dizzy state, Bill begins to ramble. His mind is clouded, his inhibitions are gone, and he accidentally confesses a secret that stops Hayley's heart cold in her chest. Bill reveals that he recently drafted a brand new, highly secretive will, and the terms of this will: if he dies suddenly, his entire estate, his massive wealth, and all his assets bypass Hayley entirely and are left exclusively to his daughters, Naomi and Chelsea, and his ex-wife, Danny. Boom. Let that sink in for a minute. Why would Bill do this? Perhaps it is his subconscious guilt over his recent elevator hookup with Danny. Perhaps, deep down, beneath his massive ego, he realizes that Hayley is a flight risk, and his true loyalty remains with the women who built his life with him. Whatever the psychological motivation, this secret will is the ultimate failsafe. Hayley is left standing there with a lethal syringe in her hand, completely paralyzed by the realization of what this means. If Bill dies right now in this villa, she gets absolutely nothing. The $10 million life insurance policy is a drop in the bucket compared to the entire estate. And worse, a sudden death would immediately trigger the new will, leaving her penniless and entirely at the mercy of Danny, Chelsea, and Naomi. The very women she despises would inherit the empire she has been trying to steal. The irony is absolutely delicious. The Black Widow is suddenly trapped in. Now, the narrative flips entirely on its head. A frantic race against time begins, but not to kill Bill. Hayley must now desperately try to save him. She has to find a way to reverse the effects of the slow burn poison she has been feeding him for weeks. She needs Bill alive, lucid, and compliant long enough to manipulate him into changing that will back in her favor. The sheer panic setting in for Hayley is a phenomenal character shift. She goes from a cold, calculating killer to a desperate, frantic caregiver. She has to play the devoted, loving wife trying to nurse her sick husband back to health, all while knowing she is the one who put him in this condition. But there is a massive, violent wrench in Hayley's new plan, Randy Parker. Let us break down Randy's logic. Randy is a street-level henchman, a mercenary motivated purely by immediate cash. He does not care about Bill's estate, his law firm, or his assets, because Randy's name is not on the will. Randy's entire motivation is his $5 million cut of the life insurance policy. To Randy, Bill is worth more dead than alive, and he wants his payout right now. When Hayley frantically tells him they have to stop the plan and keep Bill alive, Randy is not going to just nod and walk away. This sets up a brutal, high-stakes betrayal between the two cousins. The alliance built on greed begins to violently fracture because that same greed is now pulling them in opposite directions. Hayley is desperately trying to flush the toxins out of Bill's system and keep him breathing, while Randy is itching to finish the job and secure the bag. Blood is supposed to be thicker than water, but in the criminal underworld of Fairmont Crest, money trumps family every single time. Randy realizes that Hayley's change of heart is a threat to his payday. If Bill survives, Randy gets nothing. If Bill figures out what they did, Randy goes to prison. The psychological warfare between Hayley and Randy inside that isolated villa is going to be television gold. How does Hayley protect Bill from a ruthless killer she hired? She cannot call the police without exposing her own murder plot. She cannot call for medical help without the doctors discovering the poison in Bill's blood. She is entirely isolated, trapped in a Caribbean villa with a dying husband and a hitman who is losing his patience. Hayley thought she was the smartest person in the room, but she is now fighting a two-front war against her own cousin and her husband's failing biology. And let us think about the poetic justice happening back in Fairmont Crest. Danny, Chelsea, and Naomi are currently running around town, desperately trying to expose Hayley's infidelity with Sammy and protect Bill's assets. They have no idea that Bill has already protected them. They have no idea that they are currently holding the winning hand in a high-stakes poker game happening thousands of miles away. Danny's fierce declaration that the Dupree women are here to stay is manifesting in the most literal, legal way possible. Bill's secret will is a testament to the fact that, despite his arrogance and his mistakes, the foundation of his life belongs to his first family. If Caroline Lee decides to step up and tell Chelsea about her suspicions regarding the Rush St. Bart's trip, it could trigger a rescue mission. Imagine Chelsea, Naomi, and Jacob Hawthorne utilizing their resources to track Bill down, arriving at the villa just in time to witness the chaotic fallout between Hayley and Randy. Or imagine Bill waking up from his delirium, realizing that his beautiful, vibrant young wife is literally wresting a syringe away from her cousin to keep him alive. The illusion of his perfect second marriage would shatter in the most violent, undeniable way possible. This storyline is a brilliant exploration of karma, greed, and the consequences of arrogance. Bill's refusal to listen to his daughters almost cost him his life, but his lingering loyalty to them is the exact thing that is saving him. Hayley's ruthless ambition blinded her to the legal realities of marrying a high-powered attorney. She thought she could outsmart a man who literally makes a living drafting airtight legal documents. It is a spectacular clash of intellect versus base criminality. As we watch this Caribbean nightmare unfold, we are left with so many burning questions. Will Hayley successfully fend off Randy, or will Randy take matters into his own hands and try to eliminate both Bill and Hayley to take the full insurance payout? Will Bill's body survive the trauma of the poison, or will the damage be permanent? And when the dust finally settles, how will Bill ever look Danny and his daughters in the eye again, knowing they tried to warn him while he blindly walked into his own execution? The gates of Fairmont Crest are wide open, and the demons are coming home to roost. Keep your eyes glued to the screen, because this is soap opera perfection.